The biggest ChatGPT update of the year already happened. And chances are you didn't even notice. Because when you opened ChatGPT this morning, everything looked exactly the same. Same logo, same conversation, same interface. Nothing on the surface suggested that anything had changed. But beneath that familiar interface, OpenAI quietly changed the way we're supposed to think about AI. For the last few years, most of us have treated ChatGPT like one incredibly smart assistant. Ask a question, get an answer, repeat. That way of working served us well, but it's already becoming outdated. Because OpenAI isn't simply giving us another chatbot. They're giving us something far more powerful. OpenAI is giving us an AI team. And once you see ChatGPT through that lens, you'll never use it the same way again. Let me show you why. The biggest mistake people will make after this update is believing they still have one AI. They don't. Think about the smartest organizations in the world: hospitals, film studios, space agencies, Fortune 500 companies. None of them expect one person to do everything. They build teams. Imagine walking into a hospital where one doctor performed every surgery, read every X-ray, treated every patient, and ran the entire emergency room. It would be impossible, not because the doctor wasn't intelligent, but because specialization scales better than generalization. That's exactly what's happening inside ChatGPT. Instead of relying on one model to solve every problem, OpenAI is beginning to organize intelligence the same way high-performing organizations organize people. Different strengths, different responsibilities, one shared mission. You're no longer choosing whether to use AI. You're learning how to manage an AI team. And every great team starts by knowing who's best for the job. And now, it's time to meet your strategist. Every great team has someone who thinks before everyone else acts. Meet Soul. Soul isn't the fastest member of your AI team. That's intentional. Because some problems don't reward speed. They reward judgment. Imagine you're writing your first book, building a business, designing a product, planning a YouTube documentary, or making a decision that could affect the next 5 years of your life. Those aren't moments where you want the fastest answer. They're moments where you want the best thinking. That's where Soul shines. Think of Soul as your chief strategy officer. The person you invite into the room before making an expensive mistake. Research, systems thinking, long-term planning, complex problem solving, big decisions. Saul doesn't simply answer questions. Saul helps you think better. But even the best strategy means nothing if nobody executes it. Every strategy eventually reaches the same question. Who's going to build this? Ideas don't change the world. Execution does. Meet Terra. If Soul is your strategist, Terra is your builder. Planning, writing, organizing, creating, shipping. Terra turns scattered ideas into finished work. Imagine launching a product, preparing a keynote, managing your content calendar, building your next course, or producing your next documentary. These aren't problems that demand endless thinking. They demand momentum, consistency, organization, follow-through. Terra keeps everything moving. For many people, Terra may quietly become the AI they use more than any other. But not every task deserves this much planning. Sometimes, the smartest move is simply moving faster. Meet Luna, the fastest member of your AI team. Here's the mistake most people make. They assume every task deserves their most powerful AI. It doesn't, not even close. Quick questions, summaries, brainstorming, finding information, cleaning up writing, explaining complex ideas simply. These aren't million-dollar decisions. They're everyday moments where speed creates momentum. Imagine asking your company's chief strategy officer to rewrite every email. They could, but why would they? The smartest professionals don't use their most powerful resource for every task. They match the right resource to the right problem. That's the mindset shift. You're no longer working with one AI. You're leading a team. And now that you know who's doing the work, there's one more decision left. How deeply should they think? Now that you know who should do the work, there's one more decision that may be even more important. How much thinking does this problem actually deserve? When I first saw the new reasoning effort setting, I assumed it was simply making ChatGPT smarter, but that's not what's happening. Reasoning effort doesn't change who your AI is. It changes how long it's willing to think before answering. Think about your own life. You don't spend an hour deciding what socks to wear, but you probably spend days deciding whether to change careers, launch a business, or write a book. Different decisions deserve different amounts of thinking. A quick email, low effort; planning a presentation, medium effort; designing your company's strategy, writing a book, making a life-changing decision. That's where deeper reasoning becomes valuable. The goal isn't to leave the dial on high. The goal is matching the amount of thinking to the importance of the decision. That's exactly how experienced leaders make decisions. And now, it's how you'll work with AI. Because once you've learned who should do the work and how deeply they should think, the next question becomes obvious. Where does all of that work actually live? This might be the most practical change in the entire update. Think about how most people use AI today. One conversation for writing, another for brainstorming, another for research, another for coding, another for planning. Eventually, your ideas become scattered across dozens of disconnected chats. Not because the AI forgot, because your work became fragmented. ChatGPT Work changes that fundamentally. Your research, your documents, your projects, your conversations, your AI team together. The biggest upgrade isn't intelligence, it's continuity. Because intelligence becomes dramatically more useful when it remembers what you're building. And that changes something much bigger than software. It changes how we work. Of course, none of these ideas matter unless they actually make us better. So let's zoom out. Whenever a new AI model is released, most people ask the same question. Is it smarter? Does it really matter? I don't think that's the question that matters anymore. The better question is this: how should I think differently now? Because this update isn't just introducing another model, it's introducing another way of working. For centuries, the greatest breakthroughs in human progress came from specialization. Medicine advanced because doctors specialized. Engineering advanced because engineers specialized. Modern companies grew because people specialized. Now, artificial intelligence is beginning to do the same thing. Not one intelligence trying to do everything. A team where each member has a different strength. And that changes your role completely. You're no longer just asking questions, you're assigning work. You're no longer just writing prompts, you're directing intelligence. That's the real update. Not GPT 5.6, not reasoning effort, not ChatGPT Work. Those are features. The real update is you. Because once you stop thinking about AI as one assistant and start thinking about it as a team, you begin making better decisions. You stop asking which model is smartest and start asking, who's the right teammate for this job? That's how great leaders think. That's how great organizations operate. And I believe that's how the next generation will work with AI. Sol helps me think, Terra helps me execute, Luna helps me accelerate. My job is to direct them. The future won't belong to the people who use AI the most. It will belong to the people who learn to direct it the best. And I think we're just getting started. This isn't just your future, it's everyone's. When we look back on this moment, I don't think history will remember GPT 5.6. Just like we don't remember the version number of the first smartphone, or the first search engine, or the first personal computer, we remember the moment our relationship with technology changed. I think this is one of those moments, not because AI suddenly became intelligent, but because we're beginning to organize intelligence differently. Every generation inherits a new tool: the internet, the smartphone, cloud computing. Our generation inherited artificial intelligence. The question isn't whether AI will change the way we work. It already has. The real question is, will you learn to lead it? Because the future won't belong to the people who simply use AI. It will belong to the people who learn to think with it, build with it, and direct it wisely. That's the future I'm building toward. I hope you'll build it with me.